Welcome to Soul Searching. I'm your host, Dr. Eddie Lee, and to my left, we got DJ James Deep.
Hello, everyone.
Today is a special day. We're finally dropping the first episode of our podcast. I know it took us a while to get the first episode out. There was a lot of moving part, reshuffling things around, the rebranding, rewriting, it's just retooling the whole podcast. And, but we're here. We're here now. And I just want to thank all of y'all for your ongoing love and support. You guys were always looking for it, always talking to me about it. It kept me motivated that, this is something that our community needs, especially the men. So thank you for that. And especially thank you for your patience. So much love and respect. And before we get into the meat of our podcast, I just kind of want to introduce James a little bit more. So y'all know I have a little background who he is. I just found out that James was born in Texas. I always thought he was a California guy, but he was born in Texas and he didn't actually move to California until the age of 4, around the age 4. He was living in SoCal all the way up till pretty much the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020.
No, I actually moved to Fresno when I was like 9 years old. And then I was living in Fresno till about 2019. Then that's when I came up to SAC.
Oh, then you came up to SAC afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But James has always been into music. That was something that he always loved. He actually posted something back when I want to say 2014. He said, all I want to do, or all I want to be is a DJ. And, then when he actually came to Sacramento, he ended up meeting another group of DJs. Very talented DJs, good friends of mine too. Wall.
We already here.
We are here. They're upcoming great talented DJ group. James became part of that team, and his career kind of slowly started taking off, and he was getting books for big gigs, not just like local gigs. But he opened up for Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Opened up for Griffin. James Breakaway, the big EDM festival, came to Sacramento for the first time in October, and James was actually one of the DJ that was selected to play at a Breakaway. So it was almost groundbreaking for our community also. So, and outside of his talent and him being an amazing DJ, James is like a great person, very humble, very supportive. He's my go-to guy. Whenever I need someone, whenever I just need to talk to somebody, I always give this guy a call. Doesn't matter what time it is. It could be in the early mornings, afternoons, nighttime, late at night, sometimes even like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And this guy will, he'll pick up. If not, he would check up on me right away. And actually, that's one thing that I just remember about James when I first met him, how open he was with me, and we're just talking, we're hanging out, and we were just able to be open and vulnerable and just kind of share our struggles at times. And one thing James said to me, I still remember like it was yesterday. He was like, Eddie, I feel sad that not more men have what we have. And that meant a lot to me. So that's that's why I couldn't pick a better podcast partner. So much love and respect for you too, James, and thank you for stepping up and doing this with me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like nowadays men tend to hold a lot of feelings and like let it bottle up, and it just comes out like in like the worst negative way possible.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man.
I feel like it's because they have to hold a standard where they don't show any kind of like emotion, because they're not allowed to, or they were raised to like not show emotion. Yes, if that makes sense.
Nah, it definitely makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely get into the meat of that in a bit, and we'll talk more about that.
Absolutely. And some facts here about Eddie. You were actually born in Merced, right? And moved to Sacramento at the age of 4?
Yeah, that's correct. Born in Merced and moved to Sacramento when I was around 4 years old.
Awesome. And oldest sibling in the family?
Yes, the oldest.
Also has a bachelor degree in social studies and was a history teacher for 4 years.
Yes, yes. But before I was a history teacher for 4 years, I was a dance teacher for 6 years.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, this is your upcoming 5th year as a vice principal
Yes.
and also the first Hmong vice principal in the district.
Yes, the first Hmong vice
Or ever.
principal. Yeah, first Hmong vice principal in my school district. Not the first Hmong vice principal ever, just within my district. But that's still something that I hold a lot of pride in.
Good. Good. Made it this far. Also earned your doctorate degree in educational leadership in 2023.
Yes, that was stressful.
I bet. But besides these facts, he also has 3 sons that are his pride and joy.
Oh yeah.
Love that. Alrighty. Also, you've performed for the Hmong community many times.
Yes, like my first love was actually drawing. I remember just drawing Ninja Turtles. I mean, I always loved drawing. That was my first love, drawing. And then I got into dancing because we got cable at 9 years old. If y'all remember the 80s, 90s babies, the black box. So we had one in the black box. So then, you got all the music videos, and I was just mimicking different artists, and that's when I fell in love with dancing. And then I got into piano when I was 15 in high school. I was a sophomore. That's when I started learning how to play the piano.
Oh, nice. Okay. What kind of performances did you do?
Oh wow! So I did a lot of performances, such as like I did a lot of high school performance. Kind of like starting off, just going to the local high school. They would invite me, and I go perform. Do a lot of hip hop routines, choreographies with one of my good friend Chris back then. So we did a lot of dancing together. Then I end up meeting a good friend of mine, Protege. So we end up meeting him, start collaborating with him, and started doing more gigs at some clubs. Still, did some clubs. Did HMF in 2012 with Protege, HMF 2013 with LP and TL, and even Davey Yang was part of the crew. Khang, a local, we were all one crew. It was the movement. It was so hype back then. And performed once in Minnesota when I was younger.
Nice.
But it was more just I just signed up and I just went up there. Yeah, but then like dancing, and then I was in a hip hop crew called Academy of Thugs. Wanted like what my dance teacher always tells me, like I kind of just sneak my way into that because it was like a secret thing. Like we're supposed to keep it quiet. And then just boom, come out, and boom, we're Academy of Thugs. And somehow I found out about Academy of Thugs before they wanted to launch, and I just kind of bullied my way in. And, yeah, so did a lot of hip hop competition, like 1-on-1s, 3-on-3s, all styles. Took first a couple times. When it came to choreography, the big 20, 30 dancers. Never took first, but we were always top 3, top 2, and that's where I learned my craft of dancing, how to dissect music and also make music and the lyrics come alive. So dancing is plays a huge part of my life. I use a lot of the skills I got from dance, piano, and drawing into my academics, and also when I was a teacher, how I teach, and then now as a vice principal, I use the same skills. Trying to think outside the box, trying to when someone's speaking, it's like music. Everybody knows the snares, the bass, the guitar sound, but do you hear the hi-hat? Do you hear the whistle blowing in the background? And so when teachers are talking, students are talking, or parents or community speaking, and you're trying to dissect what they're saying, you don't just take it for face value, like, okay, this is what they're just saying. Okay, what is really behind what they're saying? What is that? What I'm missing? What am I missing? That hi-hat? Am I missing that little keystrokes? So those are something that I took as a leader, like trying to just think beyond just what's in front of me. So, yeah,
that's really good. That's like how a dancer should do. That's how they should incorporate like their moves, their expression, because everything, all that matters.
Yeah, and I think the greatest lesson one of the greatest lessons I learned. Well, there's 2 great lessons I learned in life. was my dance teacher. Shout out to Brandon Greathouse. He one night we were doing this. We were just practicing how to battle, like because in the dancing, it's just like in the music scene. In the dancing, we were learning, like if you're learning to do choreography, it's a mindset. It's like it's team effort, and that's what you're trying to do. Team effort. You want to make sure you just do your part. But then there's also the battle side, like when you're going one-on-one against someone, and now it becomes very individualized. And that was one of my weakest point of dancing. Like I didn't have the mentality to battle. So I remember one night we're just freestyling, trying to learn how to battle, but we're all watching Brandon like, man, we want to be just like this guy because he's like the best dancer in the room. And of course, he's our teacher. And at the end of every cipher or every session, we sit down in the circle, what we call a cipher. We just sit down, we just kind of go around reflecting. And I remember Brandon said, hey, one thing I noticed that every single one of y'all look just like me when y'all dancing. And initially I was kind of like, what? Yeah, I look like Brandon Greathouse, dude. I must be so good. Like I'm like, yeah, I look just like my hero in dance. But then Brandon was like, that's not good. And I was like, okay, what? I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going anymore. And he was like, as much as I respect that you guys want to be like me, you want to dance like me, if you're trying to be like me, you will always be in second place. Because no one could do me better than me. But if you dance like you, I'm not saying you can't be influenced by others, but if you just do you, you'll always come in first place because no one could do you better than you. And I was just like, wow. Maybe I was 23, 24 at the time. I'm just kind of like, man, Brandon's just dropping knowledge. And I kind of took that mentality going into everything. I applied that with everything I did, like school, work, being a student, being a teacher, being an administrator. So those are the kind of thing I apply. I just do me. I don't try to be anyone else. I just try to be me. And for the most part, I think it worked out pretty well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that. Especially as a shelfer myself, like I would go to all these shows and see all these shelflers. And I would be like, damn, they have a really good style, And then like once they get done shuffling, I'll go and do my run, and then they'll compliment me or whatever, and I'll ask them, hey, was it good? Because it's not like yours. And then they said the same thing that your friend told you. Everybody has their own style. Just stick with it.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, and then the last great lesson, I think one of the other good lesson I learned was from I always call my volleyball coach, Bo Vu, headshot, prime time, I just remember how well he just kind of guided. Like he was the best floor general on the volleyball court. And he knew what to say and what to do. I mean, we were probably, when you look at the elite teams, we had the least talent compared to most teams. But we were always competitive and we won a lot because of Bo. And I just remember this one game, we were playing a team that wasn't, I would say that they weren't as talented as we were. We were far superior. Like we were a favor, but the game was tight. Like we were going back and forth. We dominated first game, second game, it's close, but they won. And third game is going, oh my God, we're going point for point. And then I want to say it was like 11-11. Then Bo calls a timeout. And then Bo was just like, and he comes up to me and he's like, you know what? We're playing scared. We're playing scared. He's like, because instead of spiking the ball, we're tipping because we don't want to make mistakes. So Bo's like, playing scared. He's like, you know what? Just go out there and swing at the ball. Just swing at it. He's like, if you swing, yes, if we get blocked. Doesn't matter. But we control our destiny. We'll swing at the ball. If we just tip it to them, now we're at the mercy of the other players. We're at the mercy of them. Now we're just waiting to lose the game. So he said, so take a chance. That's what he always say. Take a chance. Just swing. And we're like, whoa, yeah, let's go. Boom. And we go on the floor. The game goes tight. I want to say it was 11-11. And we serve the ball. They get it back to us. Again, they were playing tense. We get the ball back, bump set. And Bo will always say, take a chance. and we'll swing. Now we start swinging at the ball, and we score a point. 12, 13, 14, game point win. And because we were taking chances while the other team was playing scared or playing it safe, we were going for it. And again, that became another mentality that I took with me in life. So yeah, I do take a lot of risks in life because of Bo. You know, like I don't know, Bo. I don't know if I ever told you that, but you know, like really helps shape me as a human being also. So shout out to Bo Vu.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
But yeah, so you know, enough about James and I about our history. Just kind of want y'all to know a little bit about us. This episode's what this podcast is really about. It's about trauma, healing, and letting go. That's what the podcast is about. This episode is about why we're here. What brought James and I together to create this podcast is because mental health is a thing. It's something that a lot of people struggle with. And men, we struggle with it just as much as women struggle with it. And I feel like it's very hard for men to open up and ask for help.
It is, especially within the Asian community. Because, you know, for me, I was raised not to really show emotion. And as a kid, I didn't realize that, you know, I just stuck with it. And then as I started getting older, start to realize things and how it affects you. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Can you give us like some example how you were taught how to be a man or how to be a boy when you were younger, and or what you saw and what was expected of you?
Well, for one, like growing up, I never seen my dad show any kind of emotion. It was always like in a grumpy mood or whatever. And I think that kind of projected onto me. And it was like, I'm not ever allowed to cry unless I'm in pain or something, or like seriously hurt, you know. Like, I don't know. That's pretty much it, really. But, you know, as you get older, other things start to hit you deep. And because of how you were raised, you can't really express that. And you don't have anyone to express that with, you know.
And why do you think that as men we can't express that? Like, why can't we express that we're sad, we're hurt?
I feel like we have to hold, not hold, but like put up a front, like nothing's ever gonna affect us or hurt us, you know. So we have to play like the strong person, you know what I mean?
No, I definitely understand what you're saying. Yes. No, I feel that too. Like growing up, and I'm pretty sure majority among most among men, you know, we were taught just like how we were raised the way you were raised. Like, be strong, be tough, show no emotion. You're the provider. Crying wasn't allowed. You were not allowed to express any fear, any sadness, and you know, and that's how it was, and that was the way it was. And you know, our experience is no different. I don't think it's any different from a lot of men our age.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and I remember me being like that too. Like, even I have 3 sons. I remember when my son falls, you know, I've been like, you know, get up, and then you know they start to cry. Don't cry. You know, no, man, you're a boy. Don't cry. I even project that towards my kids too. So like that, because that's the only way I knew what a man was. You know, like someone who always had everything together.
Right.
Like a friend, like you said, like a friend. You have everything figured out. Like, doesn't matter what happens, you'll figure it out and you just work through it. And that's, you know, and like I said, if y'all met me before my ex-wife left me, man, I did not believe in mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I really did not believe in mental health. I believed, I always believed that people who were depressed, people who were suicidal, or people who committed suicide, I always thought they were just weak. You know, they're selfish, they're weak. Like, oh my God. Like, you would, you know, like they weren't, you know, strong enough. You know, that was my mindset. You know, and yeah, and you know, I could openly honestly say, you know, like that I had that mindset where most moment we would have, we got to have everything figured out. And those who didn't, they were just weak. They had weak souls. And it wasn't until my ex-wife left me. When she left me, man, dude, I fell into that darkness. I fell into that dark hole. And it was hard because I never knew how to channel these feelings.
Right.
I didn't know how to, and I was embarrassed to ask for help. And everything just got very dark and cold, and it was scary. Nothing just feels right during that time. Didn't matter. I was always exhausted. I could have 12 hours sleep and I'll be tired. I have 2 hours sleep. I'm still tired. Nothing felt right. I slept in the old room. It just didn't feel right. I slept in the guest room. It didn't feel right. I slept in my son's room. It didn't feel right. I ate in the living room. Didn't feel right. I ate in the kitchen. Everything just felt so out of place. Nothing felt right anymore. And it's the feeling. It's so hard to kind of explain, because when you're in that, I always call that dark caves. When you're in that dark caves, doesn't matter. You go straight, left, right, walk backward. You're always hitting a wall, and you can't find that light at all. And I was there. I was there. Like, I wanted to end it my life. You got to the point where you're just like, I'm just so tired. I'm exhausted. I'm like, I worked so hard to get where I'm at and lose everything that I worked so hard to build. And it didn't make it easier when everybody was like, but you're gonna be a doctor, you're gonna be, you're the lead, you're the upcoming leader in the community, you're, like, move on, you're good, just, it's like, it's been 2 months. And I was like, I don't, like, am I not allowed to be hurt? And it was like that for me. I felt like I couldn't feel any pain. Like, I had to show up, and she's like, nope, nothing matters. I got everything figured out. And I didn't have everything figured out. I was so lost. I was just like a zombie. Like, I was just a body with no soul. That's how I felt like. I was just walking. I was just existing. And it was like it was just like a ticking time clock. It just kind of, and eventually I thought I was going to hit my time. I was like, I'm over. Like, I just wanted the pain. It's an ongoing pain. Mentally, emotionally, physically, because you're just so tired. It's so hard to just get up, and you don't want to go anywhere. Like, I did not want to go anywhere, because when I went out with my friends, they had really good friends, really good classmates. They were taking me out and trying to cheer me up. Nothing felt good. Going downtown, going to basketball games, trying to hit the clubs again, and even me dancing at the club. It's like, I just want to go home. And when I get home, I don't want to be home. But I don't want to go out either. And it was just, I got stuck there. It's just like, and then that's where I felt like that ticking time clock. And when I got to that dark place, it was just like, I just want this to end now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to end. And I got very close to ending it. Because it was just something, and when I did ask for help, and then I seemed like weak. People were making fun of me.
Yeah.
So then I just hold back. Then I just kind of like, and then you felt even like you don't think like the cave, I call it the dark cave. You don't think the dark cave would get darker? It got darker. By the people who love you, the people you thought would be there for you.
Yeah.
Because instead of listening, they're pretty much saying, "You're not man enough."
Mm-hmm.
You're like, "You're not being a man," and I just really felt alone. I just remember like you can turn to anyone, and luckily I had a really good friend, you know, Chris Cheatham. Like that's my buddy. A shout out to you, Chris. He during that time he was the only one who just allowed me to just be sad.
Yeah.
He didn't try to answer my questions. He didn't try to give me solutions. He didn't try to fix anything. He just, hey man, I will call him late.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like 8 o'clock. I'll go over there, and then I'll stay till like 1, 2 in the morning. And all he does is just let me vent, let let things out, let me cry, and he didn't even judge me. He was just like, man, I hear you, man. And in a way, he's one guy who kind of kept me in line. So that's why I love that guy so much too. And you think that he was the only? I thought that he was probably the only one that would ever do that or be there for me, that could keep that kind of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And not judge until I met you. And then I was like, man, you're just like Chris. You're just like Chris. Very open, very honest. You share a story with me too, what you were going through. And then what I realized is there are actually a lot more men like us. But I don't think we want to be known at that. Oh yeah, we don't want to have these conversations, even though we want it. Some of us may feel like we want to shy away from it.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be looked at a certain way or be thought of a certain way.
Right.
The judgment will kick in and
or be thought of as a bother. If that makes sense. Like I feel like guys that are going through these don't know how to find the right person to reach out to,
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. Simon Shrink, I think that's his name. I love watching the guy. He said something. I totally agree with him, that trust isn't built when you're there for someone. Trust is built when you can ask others for help. James, and you've probably experienced this many times too, where either you or you have someone who needed help. Why didn't they ask for help? And they said they didn't want to be a burden.
Right.
I don't want to be a burden to you. Like, I have friends before. I said, why didn't you talk to me? Well, I didn't want to be a burden to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I get offended by that. Like, what do you mean you don't want to be a burden to me? Every time I call you, do you think I'm a burden to you? No. I love being there for you. So why don't you give me that opportunity to be there for you?
Right.
And that's where Simon said. He said, that's where trust is built, when you can ask other people. You give them the opportunity to be a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
We all know we want to be a good friend. We know we could be a good friend. But do we allow others to be a good friend? And that's the hard part. And that's why I think everybody, I call people, I ask for help now, or if I'm in need for anything, and I don't look like, oh, I'm a burden to them. I'm like, I'm giving you the opportunity to be a good friend. And I've found out more times than not, people love that.
Yeah.
People love being there for others. People love helping others. I mean, not everyone, but there's a lot of people out there that, hey, you're reaching out to me for help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will, and they love that aspect. But give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I know too many people say, they're there for everyone, but when they need help, they won't be there for anyone. And well, because I don't want to be a burden. It's like, but no one's a burden to you, and yet how you feel like you're a burden to everyone. I mean, that's being very selfish. Like only you could be the good friend. You can't let anyone else be the good friend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my belief on, or my opinion on how trust is built. Because I really believe what Simon said. It's Simon said,
Yeah.
is trust is built when you can ask others for help. And like I'm making more friends now, and some people are like, man, you got a lot of friends. I do, and they're really good friends, and I give them opportunities to be good friends. And more time than not, most of them, majority of them, step up. So it gives me hope that there's still a lot of good in this world. We just don't see it because we don't give the opportunity for the world to be great.
Right.
So that's my take on trust.
Well, I do agree, but I feel like there are some people that they don't know how to choose their people, I guess. Like I think it's easy for them to be like, oh, should I tell him what I'm going through? I don't know how he's gonna react to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a skill that has to be the only way to get better at something is for you to practice at it.
Yeah.
There are people when you're all right, like again, when I ask people for help, they think by saying, you got all this to live for, you're this, you're that, come on. They're thinking tough love, or I just gotta be real, I gotta be blunt, man. That's how I roll, man. I'm just gonna be blunt. You know how I am. Yeah, sometimes I don't need you to be blunt right now. Like, just need you to be quiet. And some people are not good at just listening. They're good at talking.
And try to solve your problems.
Yeah, and no one could solve your problem but yourself.
Exactly. And if they are trying to solve your problems, I think they're telling you what they would do, but what they would do isn't going to work for you, most likely.
Yeah, 100% right. And that's like I would use Chris for example again. Like I had an experience where I came back from a different state. I mean, still in the United States, but came back and I was very devastated. And he was just like, I went to a birthday party, one of my buddy's birthday party, but I was just down. I was sad because of that experience, and I was just like, man. And me being sad, like most of y'all know me, like I'm always jolly, full of energy. I'm always I'm easygoing, like the life of the party, though some people call it. But then, so when I'm quiet and everything, they're just like, and then it's just like, man, gotta do this, gotta get up, man. Oh my God, you had a great time. Boom, 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 boom. And I was like, Chris, shut up. I was like, you don't even know what I'm going through right now. Like, I'm allowed to be hurt. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to try and figure this out right now, and go through it. And kudos to Chris, he stopped. He stopped talking. And then he gave it about like 10 minutes. And then he came to me. He's like, hey man, Eddie, if you want, man, we could go back to my place. We just talk. I was just listen. So we hung out for about another 30 minutes, and then took out to Chris' place, and I just like poured my heart out that night. And Chris was just like, I'm sorry, man. All he said, I'm sorry to go. I know it's tough. And but I'm here, man. I'm here for you. And that's one thing I love so much about Chris. Like, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. Chris isn't perfect. And Chris was so good to me. But even we have hiccups.
Yeah.
And then he waited till a couple of days later, and then he came up to me. He was just kind of like, hey, my bad. I'm sorry. And he's like, it just hurts to see you that sad. And he was like, man, you're amazing. Because everyone, he's like, you're amazing, man. Like, you're so good. You're like the best person I know in life. And I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I just want you to see it. I'm like, just give it time. I'll see it. Like it just. But when you try and force it to someone to see it at that moment where they're not thinking logically,
Right.
when they're thinking emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
you can't, like Simon said, you can't meet emotion with logic, and you can't meet logic with emotion. And I think what you're trying to say earlier, when you do ask for help, that's what people are trying to do. You're very emotional,
Mm-hmm.
and they're speaking very logical to you, and
Yeah.
you can't process none of that right now because you're just very emotional.
Right.
And that's where people have to start to kind of like, and it's something you have to practice for a while. Like it's something that it doesn't really come natural. It's for somebody it's come really natural.
Yeah. Like us.
Oh, for me, I went in therapy, man. I went in therapy for 10 months, so it gave me a different insight on how to approach people. Maybe if you met me before I got divorced, I'll be one of those guys who is like, man, Jane, step up, son. What are you doing? What are you talking about, man? Because I never felt those pain,
Right.
and because I didn't feel those pain, I never truly understand the root cause of that pain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to help you. I'm gonna just talk to you like as a man, like a normal man would talk to me. Man up, son. Put on your big boy pants. Why are you crying?
Yeah.
It took me going to that dark place, to that cave, going to therapy for 10 months. And then therapy was like, I love therapy. And therapy kind of taught me like everything happens in waves or phases.
Mm-hmm.
Phase one was just the listening phase. Like when my ex-wife left me, it was just listen phase. And the therapists, they were so good. They just let me vent over and over and over about the same thing, and to the point where I didn't want to vent no more.
Mm-hmm.
But they never judged me. They just allowed me to keep saying it. And they don't say anything. Then when I kind of like stop venting, like, oh, they do the check-ins, and you're just like, then they could say, okay, what? Now I could start to go into phase two, transition to phase two, which is the reflection part now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're trying to make me reflect when I'm very emotional and hurt, I ain't reflecting. I'm hurt.
Right.
I'm mad at the world. I'm pissed off. I don't even want to live. It's like, what are you trying to make me reflect right now? I ain't reflecting right now.
Yeah.
I want to die. I just want to die. Like, I don't want to live.
Right.
Reflecting, please. But that's why I love their age. So, and that took about like 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all could relate to that, where we don't ask people for it because they're tired of our story. No, I would try to be that friend. You can tell me the same thing over and over and over and over, and I'll be there because
Right.
I understand you need to get out of your system. Once talking about one time, it's not gonna get out of your system. 2 times, no. It could be 1,000 times. I don't know, but we gotta let it get it out, and then that's what my therapy did. Let me get it out 2.5 months. Then, okay, let's transition to now reflecting. What do you think you could have done better? What do you think happened? What do you think you were at fault at? Then you start thinking, okay, I did mess up here. I messed up there. I was, I couldn't have done this better. And I could have came home more. And then you go through reflecting. You do a couple of homework assignments. Then you go to, then they slowly. Okay, now you start. You got the concept pretty much down.
Right.
Reflect, and let's transition into the seeking to understand part. What do you think she was going through? You could have done this better. You couldn't have done that better, right? You couldn't have done that better.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think she was feeling? How do you think she felt when you did this? How do you think she felt when you broke that promise?
Right.
And then where I went, I had a male therapist, and I also had a female therapist. So then the female therapist kick in and there, and she'll tell them, this is where female comes, and this is how they feel. Then you just kind of, oh man, like I don't know that.
Right. Right.
And that's the challenge, is we think we know everything, and that's where I'm like, oh my god. Now I just felt like, okay, at that point I'm like, I don't agree with what happened, but I can understand now why it happened. And then once I got to that point right there, phase 4. Now knock her off the pedestal. You will never be able to get over her because you will always compare every girl to her.
Right.
Now, this is when the men talk the hard tough love come. Man, she wasn't perfect, right? She wanted to, man, make a list of what she did wrong, man. All the double standard, the nagging, boom, 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 outside. And this is so every time you think about that, think about her, boom, 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 boom. Go back and you're like, oh, bam, bam, okay, knocking off the pedestal now. Now, like, she's no longer a standard. She is no longer a standard anymore. So that then got easier and easier for me to, because the first year I didn't date. Like talking to girls so hard because all I wanted was her back. I just wanted her back, and I fought and fought. And I was, I could have met the most gorgeous model, and I would still say she wasn't compared to my ex.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, and it was hard, but then and I think I had to backtrack just a little bit. Therapy sold me. They sold me on. I'm gonna help you win your wife back. That's what they sold me on, and I was like, sign me out, ching ching, credit card, boom, got it. I'm gonna win her back. But at the end, right at 10 months, that's when I was getting good, and they're like, Eddie, like, you're good now. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Like I feel like I'm a better person. Starting to understand more, feel better. Like not just from women's side, but and have more empathy. But like I just feel better about myself. Like like I think I grew as a human being. And then they said, this therapy was never about winning your ex-wife back. It was all about you growing as a human being and being the best version of yourself. And I was like, no, and it was so different. I was kind of, because I felt better now. Man, if they told me, try to sell me on that, like, hey, come to therapy because we're gonna make you the best version of yourself. No, they didn't. You would never get me on that.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. They were good. They were good, and they got me. But then at the end, I was kind of wow, and it didn't matter anymore. And it's crazy. Again, backtracking. The first, like part of the session, part of the therapy too, was group therapy. And I don't care who you were, what title you brought, how much money you made. There was lawyers in there. There was people like entrepreneurs making $600,000-$700,000 a year. There were janitors. There were from every title and financial placement in life. They were all there. We all felt the same thing. We all hurt the same way. Our story very similar too. A lot of us had a similar story, but the feelings we all was going through was pretty much similar. We were all very hopeless in the beginning, and some got out sooner, some got out later. Therapy, and that's why I say healing takes time. Healing takes time, but there's no time limit of when healing happens. Some people say it only takes 2 months. They're done 2 weeks, and they're already moved on. They're ready good to move on. For me, it was 10 months. I have a friend who's like going on 5 years, and he still has a tough time. And I'm like I said, oh wait, well, that's way too long. But your healing and your way you process is unique and different from individuals, individual to individuals.
Yeah.
So
compared to everyone.
Yeah.
I've had moments myself where I would just be stuck in bed. Like I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to do it. I knew at that moment nothing was gonna make me happy. Like, listening to music or DJing or hanging out with my friends. And I didn't know why. I was like, man, am I really not happy? Am I depressed or something? Do I just want to end it right now? Just to get rid of this feeling, Because even at times like those, I felt like I had no one to turn to, And, that's why I'm glad I have you, dude. I feel like I can open up to you about anything, anytime, without being judged, without
Yeah.
someone having to, try to solve it, rather than, I remember you showing me a video of having someone sit in the mud with you, until they're ready to get out of the mud.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And and I just want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be a good friend to you. And that's why we have this podcast. This podcast is just the truth. This is just our story, but I know a lot of men are going through what we're going through, and we know we're no expert. What we're telling y'all, for many of y'all all even have stories that are probably deeper and more dramatic or more traumatizing than ours. But it's not about who has the biggest trauma, who went through the most in life. It's just knowing that, like you have James and I here, and you don't have to do it on your own. And if we could just change your mind and say, hey, it's okay to open up. Eddie opened up, James opened up, I could open up, and that's pretty much the mission of this podcast. Oh, before we finish episode 1, we do have a giveaway for our first podcast. James actually grabbed that a plaque. Yeah, so this is our soul searching plaque. It was actually done by one of my good friend, Khang. A very talented guy. I'll drop his information down. The first 100 people who like, comment, share, or subscribe our episode will be raffled into winning this. And of course, you're truly Eddie and Jay will sign it, and then whoever wins, we will get your information and we'll send it out to you.
That sounds fun, exciting.
So that concludes our first episode. We want to thank everyone again for listening to us. I know this episode went out longer, was a little longer than what we expected, but I guess that is expected for the very first episode. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. Until next time.
This is Soul Searching,
where healing happens one conversation at a time.